We always hesitated telling people what the drug was when David was younger, but it was ketamine.
Stay in your seat.
Well, thanks for having us. I'm obviously David Sr. I was the videographer of David After Dentist.
So I'm also David DeVore, and I'm the actual kid in the video, the one that's, acting all crazy and stuff in the backseat of the car.
I videotaped my son after a dentist surgery procedure in 2008. I had no idea what I was going to capture.
I think the big thing was I was really nervous for it. That played a part in, if anybody's watched the David After Dentist 2, the other video that he released, which is just more footage from the day, specifically from before, I was smiling the whole time, but it's because I was nervous.
We always hesitated telling people what the drug was when David was younger, but I think it's more educational now. So it was ketamine. So that's a pretty strong narcotic anesthesia. And so that's why he was a little bit more loopy than just laughing gas.
I don't think they're allowed to use it on people that age anymore either.
I guess another funny thing is, and it's just a fun thing between David and I, we always argue about who's the more important, piece of this, well, if it wasn't for, David's always, well, if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have the video. Well, I could make the same claim, so, but at the end of the day, we all know that it's, about David and,
well, also my mom and my brother too. I mean, if they weren't there, the video wouldn't have happened either. So
yeah,
I think they all it's just more of a battle of the Davids type of show. But when it comes down to it,
yeah, and it's really become a family, thing. Yeah, David and I are doing this interview and we do the interviews, but all four of us have gotten to have some really cool experiences from it, and it's been a lot of fun for all four of us. The funny story is the nurse came out after he woke up and said, she's like, "Is your name David?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, that explains it." David was like, we said, "Well, what's your dad's name?" And he goes, "David." And they're like, "No, that's your name." And he's like, "My dad's name is David, or Poppy." He calls me Poppy. And so they finally put two and two together, and I went back in there to get him, and he was even worse then, of course, than in the car. He was like, "I love you, Poppy. I love you." He's pointing at 5 different versions of me he was seeing. So it was quite a shock.
I always say that I remember right before going under, I guess, they, they gave me the shot and, said, count backwards from 10. There's no way it'll act that fast. And I was like, I don't remember getting past 7 or 8 before I was just, at least in my memory, it just goes black. I remember looking to my left and my right, and my dad was holding my left arm and the nurse was holding my right arm, and they were dragging me almost like I was leaving the battlefield, carrying me,
Well, keep in mind that was filmed basically a year before we posted it. And so that night, we sat around and watched it, and we were laughing and stuff like that, but there was no, sense of needing to upload it or anything like that. We wanted to share it, but there was a time when YouTube didn't exist, so it had started, but it was just, if you do the Wayback Machine, it was just so, basic. Kept thinking, well, this is getting harder and harder to share with different people, and so let me just upload it. And the next day it was 10,000 views. Mm-hmm. And the Wednesday after, it was 4 million. We immediately got a lot of attention, and it was interesting. A lot of it was radio. I think because it happened over the weekend, these morning drive-in shows were looking for things to say, talk about Monday morning. And so that led to a lot of radio interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, well, believe it or not, the first one that reached out big was Jimmy Kimmel. He had just started his new show, and so he was, doing a lot of Skype interviews and things like that. This was when he was, I think he had just been doing the Man Show or something.
Somehow he managed to duplicate the video of the kid coming home from the dentist.
Is this real life?
Yeah, this is real.
It ended up not working out for one reason or the other. Disney had just purchased, ABC, and so I think they were hesitant, kid drugs. When we went out there to LA to do the Tosh.0 show, we were able to connect with the producer that we had befriended. We know her, Erin, as more than we know, anybody else there. And we were able to go and visit the set, meet Jimmy, and it was just an awesome experience. David was too young to go in the audience, so we were in the production room, and that was really cool. And next thing I know, Erin comes running in and tells David to come out. And you remember that part?
Yeah,
right?
they basically had found a workaround to get me out there. Of like, I got to warm up the crowd, so I wasn't on air. But everyone there got to see me. So that was pretty cool. And I'm sure somewhere they have video of that.
No, I have it.
Well, you do, but yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
But yeah, and then the rest of it.
There were two incidences. There was an article written in the Chicago Sun-Times. Can't remember the author, but she just heard her, just like everybody else, her college-age niece came home and told her about the video and said it was so funny and watched it, and she's just outraged, and where are the police, and why wasn't Child Protective Services? And I'm like, for what? For taking my kid to the dentist? To me, that's the genesis, I think, of clickbait a little bit, these two experiences that we had, because they certainly embedded the video into that article. That was the beginning of me learning how the eyeballs attracting and negative, reactions and stuff like that, not quite trolling, but, outrage, to bring viewers. And then Bill O'Reilly, it was even more with him. He was just comparing me to a mom who had blown pot smoke into her baby's face. And we had been on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Like a month before. So I had contacts there, and I said, look, this is really upsetting. I'd really like to, And so they said, sure. So O'Reilly, of course, looking back on it, he was just like, sure, let's have a, knockdown drag out. Well, I go there, and, I went by myself. I paid my own way, and I came on after Geraldo Rivera. He walked out of the room, and then I go in, and I had no clue, but Bill wasn't even there. He was in DC. I'm talking to him on a monitor, and anyway, in hindsight, it wasn't good or bad, but I wouldn't have done it again, because it just fed into that whole, I really saw both of those, the author of the article and then Bill O'Reilly, they didn't care. I mean, they didn't care one way or the other. It was just about, views and attention and all that. So the best way to get that was to be, negative or clickbaity. We didn't have that word back then, but that's exactly the same, same idea. Just thank you for having us. We don't have anything to plug. I mean, I've got a garage full of t-shirts. I mean, I'll send, if anybody wants one, I'll just send it to them. But, if you're interested in the NFT coming up, check that out. It'll be on Foundation. So yeah, we appreciate you having it on. We love Know Your Meme. You guys have been around forever, and just I think it really captures, I just love the nostalgia of it, and how you guys, really put this, the meme culture into the perspective, the internet where it's supposed to be. And it really is, it's a pop culture, it's historical, for us. I don't think we realize how big it is until, maybe another decade. But anyway, thanks. Yeah.